Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be discussing the film Blade Runner, the landmark science fiction action film directed by Ridley Scott in 1982, starring Harrison Ford and Rutger Hauer. Uh, let's begin. So, the film is based on the book by Philip K. Dick called Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? The neo-noir film explores themes of identity, humanity, memory, and is celebrated for its influential visuals, Vangelis score, and philosophical depth, despite being a box office disappointment initially. It stars Harrison Ford, Rutger Hauer, Sean Young, Edward James Olmos, and so it follows Harrison Ford's character Rick Deckard, a Blade Runner, as they're called. That's what the name of the movie is called, as he hunts down bioengineered androids called replicants in a dystopian futuristic Los Angeles. Where do I get started with this film? It is quite possibly one of my favorite films. It's a hodgepodge of it's a perfect, like Ratatouille. It's a perfect mix of everything. It has good visuals. It has amazing acting, amazing actors, good lineup. It has an amazing score, and overall, just the production of the film is just absolutely phenomenal. The runtime is pretty good too. I'd say it's a pretty decent runtime for a film. Doesn't keep you seated for too long, and it has a lot to say, especially in this day and age. Um, I'm of the opinion that the first one, is way better than the second one. Although I do like the second one as well, but this one is a very good film, I'd say. And let's get down to the meat and potatoes. Let's read the trivia, and let's go. So where to begin? After Philip K. Dick saw Harrison Ford as Rick Deckard on set, Dick declared, "He has been more Deckard than I had imagined. It has been incredible. Deckard exists." That's how well written this character was for the film. It was as if they took the character straight out of the book. And Harrison Ford at the time did an amazing work as the character. Uh, Philip K. Dick personally approved of Rutger Hauer, describing him as the perfect baddie called Aryan flawless. Take that as you will. But the next piece of trivia we have, the final scene was shot hours before the producers were due to take creative control away from Sir Ridley Scott. Think of that. Think of that. Imagine a whole entire. It could have been a completely different movie, you know? But he got it done. Yep. Well, you powered through and he got it done. Ridley Scott regards this movie as Ridley Scott regards this movie as probably his most personal and complete movie, and also regards it as a personal favorite. He also noted that it set the pace for many things. Although his most recent pacing hasn't been as good, but I can see how he really admires this film that he created. Director Sir Ridley Scott cast Rutger Hauer as the role of Roy Batty without meeting him. He watched his performance in Turkish Delight, Katie Tipple, Soldier of Orange, and was so impressed he cast him immediately. However, for their first meeting, Hauer decided to play a joke on Scott as he turned up wearing huge green sunglasses, pink satin pants, and a white sweater with an image of a fox on the front. According to production executive Catherine Haber, when Scott saw Hauer, he literally turned white. That's how much of a Chad Hauer was. He really took his profession seriously. and you could see that with everything that he did. Director Sir Ridley Scott and director of photography Jordan Corenwith achieved the famous shining eyes effect by using a technique invented by Fritz Lang and his cinematographer Eugene Schwifton, known as the Schwifton process. Light is bounced into the actors and actresses' eyes off a piece of half mirror glass mounted at a 45-degree angle to the camera. And that's how innovative they were. When it came to this project, they really wanted to capture what the vision that the book had. So they went out and did it. Ridley Scott was on a roll back then. He made Alien. He was going at it. So that was a very good decision on his part, just getting that sorted out, and was implemented pretty well. Director Sir Ridley Scott and Harrison Ford had disagreements about the script almost from the start. Ford had the narration that was in the early script version, suggesting that it was better to show most of the things at the voiceover and explaining it in order to give Rick Deckard some actual detective work to do. Scott eventually agreed, and they were taken out. But after disappointing early screenings, new voiceovers were added anyway to make the film easier to follow. Ford also found working with Scott quite frustrating, having recently worked with Steven Spielberg and Francis Ford Coppola. Ford was used to directors giving him valuable input about his character, whereas Scott was primarily concerned with the sets and the pictures. Scott maintained that Ford was a professional actor who didn't need his input. Lastly, Ford was against the idea that Deckard may be a replicant, feeling it undercut the human story of Deckard discovering his lost humanity. Bucker Hewer agreed completely with Ford at this point. According to Ford, Ridley Scott and he agreed prior to shooting that Deckard was not a replicant. Then Scott went and shot it to imply he could be, which disappointed Ford and Hewer. Oh yeah, with any production, there's always going to be some sort of disagreement. Like, someone wants this, someone wants that. But I believe the final product is evident of just how these decisions were made. But overall, it's still a good picture. Joanne Cassidy, cast as Zora, was at ease with her snake around her neck because it was her pet, a Burmese python named Darling. So look at that, a real python on set. If Ford was playing Indiana Jones, he'd probably be a little scared to be around that snake. Yeah, so the studio and test audiences weren't happy with the original final ending where Rick Deckard is looking at the piece of origami and leaves his building with Rachel. Director Sir Ridley Scott then hastily conceived of an ending that would bring some closure to their story. Although Harrison Ford wasn't enthusiastic about it, after the dark and rain-drenched production, the prospect of a daytime shoot in the sun won him over. The theatrical ending with Deckard's voiceover about Rachel not having a termination date used leftover helicopter footage from the opening scene of The Shining. Stanley Kubrick was contacted for this, and being a fan of Scott's previous movie Alien, he happily gifted it on the condition that only shots were used and that had not been used in The Shining, since there was a copious footage, something in which Kubrick was notorious for. This wasn't a problem. And yeah, I'm in the opinion that the director's cut is the best cut. Mostly because of pacing and just overall quality of the film. I would say the director's cut is the best cut of the film. But the theatrical cuts, it's okay too. Dr. Hewer came up with many innovative ideas for his characterization, like the moment where he grabs and fondles a dove. He also improvised a now iconic line, "All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain." And he looks down and he dies. Oh man, that's so good. He later chose All Those Moments as the title of his autobiography. And what a title, because that is quite possibly one of the best lines in any film ever, honestly, in my opinion. But yeah, just the execution of that scene is just so poetic, so powerful. Um, yeah, and originally Roy Batty, Rokuhira's character, was to have a lengthy monologue just prior to his death. As written by David Webb Peoples, Rokuhira felt that the text was too technical, had no bearing to the film, and referred to locations with which the audience would be unfamiliar with. It's like nerdy, like locations. Like let's say like there's like Star Wars, like just a new fan. You got main characters spouting like random planets that they don't know about. Well, they're on the books basically. It would really like deter away from the average audience's connection with the character, which I think that was a good decision on their part to cut that. The idea for Roy Batty to release a dove after he dies was Rucker Heuer's. The dove was supposedly to release itself and fly away just after Batty's death. However, after filming the scene, a large amount of water used for the rain soaked the dove, rendering it unable to fly. It simply hopped out of Batty's hand and walked away. Which I really hope there's footage. I'll try to find it. If there's any footage out there, I'll put it up. I want to see the dove just waddling away like a duck. That would, yeah, that'd be a funny image to look at. And yeah, Joe Turkel had a great difficulties in remembering his long and often technical dialogue. He was the doctor in the film and the giant pyramid. So to help him, the crew held up text banners from which he could read the lines. It was still very difficult for him since he could barely see through the huge thick glasses that he had to wear as Tyrell. Yeah. Yeah, at around 57 minutes, the scene where Zora, Joanna Cassidy's character, crashes through the sheets of glass was shot near to the end of production. The budget and time were running out, so the scene had to be done quite hastily. This caused more continuity problems since it clearly wasn't Cassidy doing the scene. It's actually a stuntwoman, Lee Pulford, wearing a bad wig that someone just happened to bring on set. For the final cut of this movie, which was one day entirely new shooting which has become known as the green screen shoot. Okay, so for the final cut of this movie, one day of entirely new shooting took place, which has become known as the green screen shoot. New footage of Cassidy was shot and the face replacement technology was used to digitally replace Pulford's face with Cassidy's. Not only was Cassidy thrilled that Zora's costume still fit her, but the crew working on the shot were amazed at how easily Cassidy was able to exactly mimic her actions from 25 years before. Yeah. As time goes by, we innovate, and they definitely fixed that. They made it look less cheesy in that little scene. So down to the crux of this video, I just wanted to discuss some trivia. Although there's so much trivia for this, I don't think I'd be able to fit it in the average time frame that I'm looking to fill in this video. But I'm completely open to future discussions once we reach back into our long format to discuss further trivia for this film. But in terms of my opinion and the crux of this video, I just wanted to just bring to attention how much I really appreciate this film and what it's done for me as someone who very much enjoys cinema and just the art of film in general. This film was what encapsulates everything that I love in a film, and it really got me into movies as a kid. I first watched it when I was around 14, 15, and it just encapsulated me. I really like this film, and I'm hoping that more people watch it and just enjoy it as much as I did, which is what a lot of these films that I discuss are. It's mostly what these videos are, just me discussing movies that I really like. And with this one, I really just enjoy it. Just hearing stories about it, the production, and yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful film. and it really captures what it really means to be a human being. And I really think that it's it's up there with a lot of movies that I really like. I'd say it's in my top five, especially since it inspired one of my favorite animes, Cowboy Bebop. Especially with the score and just the overall vibe that the director for Cowboy Bebop went for. You could tell he was inspired by this film. And I'm pretty sure there was an episode where there was like a replicant-esque character. I may be wrong, but there's some certain elements in that though that are really included in the series, especially Spike's eye, those close-ups of his eye in some parts of that anime. It's just it feels like a reverberation of the opening shot of Blade Runner with the eyeball. It's just an absolutely beautiful shot. It's like there's so many beautiful shots in this movie. I could talk about this movie for hours, but to keep it long story short, uh, what do you think about the movie? Let me know down in the comments, and be sure to expect more discussion on this film in the future, and more discussion on discussions and trivia on other films in the future. I plan to upload videos every day. Uh, don't expect like a specific hour the videos will come up, but they'll come up. So yeah, but thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you like and subscribe and share it to your friends. Thank you so much, and hope you guys have a lovely day.